What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. It is November 23rd, 2025. It is the wee hours of the November 23rd morning. I am Ross Sapp. This is your Fightful AEW Full Gear 2025 review show. We have wall-to-wall coverage. We had a scoops thread on FightfulSelect.com where we said, hey, by the way, Swerve is coming back soon. You know, we had that Tony Khan media call. We had that Wheeler Yuta interview earlier this week. Over on Fightful Select, we're going to have a Sour Graps review. We're going to have news on the Swerve theme sooner than later. Just tons of coverage. Oh, also, on our Shorts tab, we have tons of clips from the show. Not just there, we've got them over on Fightful Scraps, on our TikTok, on our Facebook, on our Instagram. They are all over the place. So I hope you guys will check it out. But you guys are here to talk AEW Full Gear. My God, what a close to that show. What a finish to that show. And I do not need 5.5 hour wrestling shows. I don't. Sorry. I am one of those people. But what a fantastic show this was. And what a fantastic ending to this show. I felt like AEW had sort of held their own very, very well. And now things are about to get very interesting heading into the Continental Classic. Things are about to step up pretty significantly with a few of the names that were added to this show. And I am rather excited for it, my friends. Get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. That's how we know what you guys want to talk about. That super chats here on youtube.com/Fightful. And then humper chats, if you're one of the thousands and thousands that watch on X, on Twitter, or on Twitter, X. I think I said that twice. Twitch. It's late, guys. We are all over the place. We want to know what you guys want to talk about. And we're going to get into that right after you hear from our lovely sponsors at MyBookie. Hey, guys. Ross Sapp here to tell you about MyBookie.ag. Yes, you can bet on professional wrestling. I know a lot of people watching this know that they have some insight. They've got a little bit of a heads up. And if you think that you know more than the odds makers, head over to mybookie.ag. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Get a $50 bonus with a $100 deposit or a $100 bonus with a $200 deposit. They have lines on upcoming shows for WWE, AEW, as well as all other sports. But leave it a little bit of extra if you feel very confident in the direction of some of the booking, the direction of some of the storylines. You can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Please only bet what you can, and please bet responsibly. MyBookie.ag, bringing you the best experience from the best. MyBookie.ag and the code FIGHTFUL. We started off with like a 7.5 minute bang, bang, gang win. It was Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson beating the Acclaimed, Big Bill and Brian Keith, and the Outrunners in the $200,000 four-way tag team match. This is what it is. It was a 7-minute match. The highlight of this was Juice Robinson humping a bag of money. That's the course of action that went on there. And listen, cool. That's the highlight. You also had Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall defeating Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. They sold me a ticket on this one. I thought after that knee that Trent Beretta had Big Boom AJ pinned. I thought it was happening. This match, I mean, listen, it's a celebrity match, but as far as celebrity matches go, Big Boom AJ knows what he's doing. He's a trained wrestler. You know, he'll hit a power slam and like a shoulder block here and there. The finisher had me horrified knowing that Trent has a history of neck injuries and stuff. It was a power bomb blockbuster, and Trent landed really high angle, super high angle on his neck. And I was like, oh my God. I was a little bit concerned. I don't do a lot of like the concern reviewing. Like Oh my God, I can't believe they did that spot. But I couldn't believe they did that spot. I was shocked. You have Big Justice getting involved. This is after Trent had talked all that trash for all these years about how he would hit the kid. And he did. He pushed down, he pushed Trent down. And that got Paul White up because, Paul White's a big Rizzler guy. Like there's always, there's that great shot from last year where Paul White like walked out Rizzler and held his hand. It was so good. So I just kind of like that Paul White, Tall Paul, is the keeper of the Rizzler, so to speak. And, these gentlemen are well past their 15 minutes, but they do a lot of promotion for the show. They're very good to deal with. They're nice people. So I got no problem with this. You had Paul White landing a punch at one point, and then Big Justice got some air on a diamond cutter. Now, like, what do I do when I'm breaking down like a 13-year-old, 12-year-old doing a diamond cutter, right? Like, first off, he got air. That was cool. Landed a little bit crooked. There's 2 or 3 different versions. There's stunner, fall flat on your ass. There's cutter, land flat on your back. Then there's the one that an awful lot of people do, and they do it like to protect themselves, right? And it hurts way worse than any of the other two. Because if you land at 90 degrees, you might jam your butt a little bit. You land flat on your back, you're taking a back bump. But you do that halfway, like looking like an ace crusher from the WWF Attitude game. Ooh, boy, your lower vertebrae aren't going to be feeling great. Now, he's a kid, so maybe it won't. But I'm like, oof, those hurt an awful lot. Those aren't feeling good. But, listen, Big Justice hit that cutter, did his job, continues to get involved. I wonder how much of these gentlemen that we're going to see in the future, because it has been almost a year to the date that they debuted. Like, do you think that they signed him to a multi-year deal? I don't know. But I thought they did good with this match. I know it's something that Big Boom AJ and QT wanted to do. They've known each other for a very long time, and QT works his ass off, man. I'll tell you a spot I loved, and you wouldn't have expected to see out of them. QT Marshall is a much better athlete than anybody gives him credit for. And I've said that going back to his ROH days as well. But the guy has got some real agility, and they did that back body, I'll call it the Drope Con Hilo, the back body Drope Con Hilo, that looked really, really great. So I was a big fan of that. Hook and Eddie Kingston dominated the Workhorsemen. Okay. Glad to see the Workhorsemen on the show. Glad to see Hook and Eddie Kingston getting a win here. This was certainly overshadowed by something else that happened later on. But this is about how I think this match should have went. And normally, what I would say, which is what I say at every AEW pay-per-view, 13 matches, there are probably 3 or 4 that could have been on something else. And this show could have been 4 hours instead of 5.5. But this one was so short, like, how could I possibly say that, right? How could I say that? I am interested in the Eddie Kingston element of all this, of which we will speak about later on. But Hook crushing people, something I'm there for. Yeah, Místico, Neon, and Mascara Dorada defeating the Don Callis family combination of Okada, Takeshita, and Hechicero. So there's things I liked and things I didn't like about this. It seems like, yes, and that head scissors stomp was very cool from the Workhorsemen. I agree. So I don't know if they're just intentionally going to do this from here on out, where the last match of the pre-show bleeds over into the main show. But I understand doing that. This is full of like really good talent. Like Mascara Dorada, one of the best talent going. Mystico, one of the biggest draws in the world right now. Okada has proven he is still a massive draw in Japan. Takeshita is going to be that guy. This is for the CMLL World Trios Championship. And I'm just like, damn, wish that the AEW Trios titles got defended like this. That would be ideal for me. But Okada wasn't there for the start of the match. Then he pulls up in his vehicle once the pay-per-view starts. And I don't know if it was Callis. It's like, oh, he doesn't work pre-shows. When I saw people tweet that, I didn't hear him say it, but I saw people tweet that, and I was like, that undermines the tailgate brawl. If I was WBD, I'd be like, don't ever say that shit again. Don't you ever say that shit again, and don't ever minimize the importance of our programming, ever. But when this Takeshita Okada match eventually happens, oh my God, is it going to be something? I don't think it should happen until like Revolution or the main event of a big Dynamite or something like that. Well, I mean, maybe it's the finals of the C2, but like how can you do that way? We'll talk more about that momentarily, but the undoing of Okada and Takeshita end up costing this match. So I feel tempted to get right into it because sort of on a roll, just already talking about Takeshita and Okada. But Josh says, Josh sent a very generous super chat, said this MF spittin'. Loved everything Takeshita and Okada did tonight. Not a world-class scoopster like yourself. Hi, Gail Kim. But I don't think we get a payoff with the feud until after Wrestle Kingdom. Possibly not until Double or Nothing. I actually would like to see it a main event Revolution, but I don't know how you do that if each one of them is in the finals of their respective block and win, right? Like Takeshita is the IWGP champion. Like, do they use that as the reason why Takeshita loses the title to Tsuji at Wrestle Kingdom because he's exhausted from the Continental Classic and he's won there? Is that how they make it happen? Because if so, I get it. Okada is in the Continental Classic. We can go ahead and talk about that. Why not? Not like I'm providing spoilers or anything. Okada's in the Continental Classic, and something very interesting got said, and I don't know if it was a slip or if it was intentional. Don Callis said, he's defending his Continental Championship in this as well. And I'm like, okay, does that mean he's defending the unified title or he's just defending the Continental element of it? And then Takeshita enters it as well. And Brian more or less says, disappointed that Okada is in the C2, but have to ask, Don said Okada is defending his Continental title. Are they renaming the unified title? My hope is that it was a slip, because what I don't want is more separation of titles. There's already too many. I definitely don't think so. New Japan fan will lose it if AEW propaganda leaks in their matches. Tough shit. You're going with a guy who is contracted to AEW. He's your world champion. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Sorry. Get over it. Man, we got Kyle Fletcher showing up as well. We'll talk about that match later. But Okada blames Takeshita for Kyle Fletcher's loss, and Takeshita was like, you weren't even there for our match. Like, you didn't show up until late. And Fletcher's pissed off at all of them. And he goes, well, guess what? I'm entering this damn thing as well. That is 3 huge names being added to this Continental Classic. Now, I was of the belief, and still am, that this should have been instead of for the Continental Championship, it should be instead for a shot at the Unified Championship. But we will get some more details on that. Actually, I'm gonna tell somebody right now to ask about that. Sorry for the dead air. I'm gonna ask somebody to ask that at the presser and see maybe if we can get an answer. Let's see here. Sorry, I understand that's. Did Toni go over this at the presser? In a presser? No, buddy. I don't think so. I don't think he went over this in a presser. No. Different. I think they should call the Unified Championship the AEW Grand Championship. TNA had the Grand Championship a few years ago, and boy, did it suck. I just think it's got stink on the name, you know what I mean? So I don't really want to see that. But Brian, more or less, actually, we read that one. C. Delgado says, what a great show with some new story builds going forward. There's a lot to look forward to in the next month. Yep. And they got back Kenny this past week. They got back Swerve today, as you boys at FightfulSelect.com reported. They got some good stuff. Scott Danielson says, hey, Sean, is there any reason there hasn't been a Revolution announcement for a location yet? Seems odd they haven't. Yes, it does seem odd that they haven't. I put out a request to get that answer literally yesterday. So I'm hopeful that I can get that soon. I also imagine that they don't want to get counter-programmed as well. So they probably are going to wait until the last moment and then probably announce it then. Noise says, let Cresta and Jeremy do the post show for War Games. Jeremy doesn't want to do post shows in general. So I don't know why you keep asking this. Cresta will be out that week. So she said to me, Gorilla Press, or if Cresta had not told me that she would be out, I would have asked her to do the Survivor Series post show. Gorilla Press says, why aren't you here, Sean? I would have bought you a couple drinks. I was on the VIP party deck. I don't drink. I've never drank. And listen, I know in Newark they don't have sweet tea or anything like that. See what I'll tell you what I've been drinking. I'm not much of a dark soda guy, and they don't sponsor, but the Holiday Creamy Vanilla Zero. I like Vanilla Coke Zero, and they took it away. You can't find it anywhere. And now they brought it back as like a holiday special. And now you can't find it anywhere again. What the hell? The hell? SRS doesn't watch in the what are you talking about? Doesn't watch in the weeds. When there's not a finish at the end of Raw or SmackDown, Jeremy won't even review that show. Where's the Pepsi at? If I ever drink a full body soda, it's a Pepsi. That's what my grandma drank. That's what I grew up on. But when she passed, I went and I had to go to like a Mexican grocery store and get the glass bottle Pepsi. Oh my God. It was incredible. Incredible. That Oreo Pepsi Zero was good when I tried it. We had Darby Allin versus Pac. Some good action here. You know, of all the matches on this show that I looked at, I felt like this is one that you could have put on like a Dynamite and said, this is your big pay-per-view quality Dynamite match, you know? It was a good match. There's a press slam off the apron that hit really hard. Oh my God. Where he just burned up the blisters on Darby. Oh my God. I don't want to use the culturally insensitive phrase, the burn name that people use. So we'll just call it wrist burn, rug burn, snake bite, all that stuff. Oh, it's filthy. I don't think I've seen anybody do that in wrestling, and everybody's had that done to them, right? Like everybody knows what that feels like, just not on burns. There was a spot where Darby got thrown in between the ropes that I really, really loved as well. That one looked really good. The Scorpion Deathlock being a finish, an actual finish in a big spot, I'm a big fan of. Wheeler Yuta ended up getting involved, and then it stings baseball bat that got used against Darby Allin. And Pac won. Very good match. It did not feel like it was 17 minutes long. This one flew by for me. And like, that's one thing you can say. If AEW is going 5-something hours, the matches on that pay-per-view are getting time, and they got time. And they went out and did it. But I do think that this could have been like a great Dynamite main event as well. But I thought that they killed it here. And Simmons says, if TK books correctly, could be one of the most important shows for him. Establish a new upper mid card with Kyle, Ricochet, and Pac. Big storylines going into the Continental Classic and top title shock win. Bravo. Yeah, I want to see Pac in this C2 as well. I want to see that. Now, I agree. I've got people saying I didn't like that, or they didn't like that Pac had to cheat. I'm with you there because Darby's had the shit beaten out of him. Absolutely had this shit beaten out of him. So, yeah. I don't think he should have needed to cheat. Shadow, my friend, don't worry. If like for example, your super chat mentions Hangman, it'll be read when we talk about the Hangman stuff. We do that to just kind of streamline the show, so to speak. We got Louis taking care of that. No worries, my friend. Get in those super chats. Get in those humper chats. We greatly appreciate it. Don't apologize, my friend. We appreciate you showing up here and supporting what we do. We are 95% funded by super chats and Fightful Select subscriptions, which, by the way, this will be my Fightful Select plug. Dropping a Q&A this weekend. Dropping a Q&A for you guys on Thanksgiving, which is going to be evergreen, a lot different than usual. That way you all can listen to it throughout the holiday weekend. And then on Monday, December 1st, it's official. WrestleVotes has joined Fightful Select. So in addition to my Q&A every week, in addition to the Q&A articles every day, in addition to Ask Grapsody every other week, and in addition to my weekly Q&A, every single week you're getting a Q&A from WrestleVotes as well. And you might say, why do you do so many damn Q&As? Because it's one thing, I can do the debunkathons, and I can get the news reports, and I can get all that stuff. But it is more important to me than anything if people are paying to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com, which I know is not a necessity, it is a luxury. I want to make sure that we get as much information that you guys specifically want as possible. And obviously they specialize heavily into the WWE related content, but WrestleVotes and TC will be doing that every Monday live at 3 p.m. And then every Thursday, WrestleVotes Radio with a whole bunch of exclusive news coming out of there. I am so pumped to add them to Fightful Select. We had the Timeless Love Bombs. Actually, yeah, the Timeless Love Bombs. Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm beating the Sisters of Sin, the Babes of Wrath, which is Willow, Nightingale, and Harley Cameron. And then Megan Bain and Marina Shafir. I like that Megan and Marina were not factored into the pinfall here. Yeah, boys at FightfulSelect.com this week reported that Anna Jay, who is in the tag team division, is towards the end of her contract, which is something worth looking at. Now, obviously, she's with Jack Perry, and there is that element of it, but I was told straight up that she is open to exploring her options. But I really liked Megan and Marina just beating the brakes off of Toni early on. This is a team that was a happy accident, and I say that really liking Penelope's presence there, and I'm glad that they keep Penelope on TV. Because listen, maybe Penelope gets better, and as soon as she's ready, they turn on her and she joins somebody else, or maybe Megan shows where her loyalty lies. Whoa. What the hell are y'all talking about? Whoa. Don't be putting this in my chat. I just said they're together. What are we doing here? I ain't putting breakup news out there on my shows. We ain't about that here. Come on now, don't be putting that in my chat. But Marina and Megan beat the living shit out of Toni Storm during this match. And there was a spot where it almost emulated the close of Blood and Guts. And I just love that. By the way, guys, if y'all speculate on relationships in my chat, you just get banned. Period. Straight up. That's not what we do here. I don't care. I don't care about their personal lives. I don't want that in my chat. Period. But Toni ended up saving Mina. And I love this choke bomb that Toni does. I love that. Like, sometimes she's such a good performer, like from a promo perspective, that you forget how good in the ring she is. There was also double German from Megan. My God. Then Willow hits the pounce on Megan, and I just adored this finish. Like, if you guys have watched my reviews long enough, you know that I'm just a big fan of pinfalls. Came from an amateur and catch wrestling background. The first thing I wanted to learn was how to pin people in various different ways. Like, just show me how to pin somebody's shoulders to the mat, because that's the point. And you saw them going back and forth, Harley and Toni, with these pin attempts, and then Toni catches her with the big package and gets that win. Loved it, man. Loved it. Noise says, great show. I get why Love Bomb got the win, but I would have loved to have loved the belts on Triangle of Madness. Well, this isn't like a tournament or anything match, is it? I think it's just a stipulation match. So, like, they're still in the tournament from what I understand. Like, the winning team just gets to choose their stipulation for the semifinal. So, well, yeah, I guess because they're not in it, the Triangle of Madness. Listen, Tekla has just been on fire. Well, okay. Sorry. It's 1 a.m. Julia Hart and Sky Blue are still in this tournament. Sorry for the confusion. Apologies. I'm tired. But Tekla has been such a great addition to them and added a phenomenal edge. I've just been I've been over the moon with how that's went. Just an incredible job. Incredible job. Oh, man. Brodido, FTR. It feels like, and I mean, they've always been good, man. Like, FTR have always been good. But it feels like since Stokely was added to this act, like they just feel reinvigorated. Like, these guys feel motivated. And again, they always seem motivated, but Jesus Christ, man. What a freaking tag team match. And I got to be honest, I didn't really see any of the 3 title changes happening tonight. And I love that. I'm a big fan of that. Brodido had a good run as champions. They had really good matches as champions. They got people wanting to watch them as a tag team, as champions. They did a fantastic job. And it didn't need to be like 7, 8, 9, 10 months or anything like that. They had a 3-month reign. And I will remember how good their reign was. This is a perfect example of like, and this isn't a short reign by any stretch, right? Like 3 months. But they went out there and they had kick-ass matches all the time. Singles, tags, whatever. And you can't look at that and say, oh my God, what an underwhelming reign. 3 months? No. Because they were out there just tearing the place up. Had a fantastic run. The Don Callis family, Okada and Takeshita, good stuff. Good stuff there. Ladder match, great stuff. Big fan of that. Had the match with the Death Riders on, was it, gosh. Yeah, it was on Dynamite. They were out there defending the titles like what, every month it felt like? At least. They had the match with GOA as well. I like it. Let's normalize this. Reminiscent of Swerve in Our Glory. Yeah, like that as well. Normalize these shorter title reigns. Normalize it. That's what I want to see. I want to see more of this. By the way, this match just absolutely hummed. There's that the belly intro for FTR. The one spot I am over is the, oh my God, Bandido did the slam instead spot. Like we've seen that a bunch, but Bandido did the double spine buster, and I loved that. Loved that. Brody sit out slam was nasty. I like that he just started to heave people after a while. And sometimes I forget how agile Brody is because he goes out there and he does these crazy dives too. The shatter machine that connected on Bandido was one of the filthiest I have ever seen. It was really, really good. It barely got broken up. FTR did that apron pile driver, the apron spike pile driver. There was the momentum reverse on the Doomsday, which I'm always shocked to see. I just don't know how that's physically possible. Like when Hangman does the like moonsault fall away slam, that's something like I did with my action figures when I was little and didn't think that anybody could do. And now you're seeing stuff like this. You got Stokely sacrificing himself, and then FTR win the tag team titles. And I mean, like, man, these guys are gonna be good until they just decide to not do this anymore. They're gonna be good, I think, until they retire. Whenever that comes, and hopefully it is no time soon. FTR are just, somebody says, when did Dax become base god? Buddy, Fightful Awards are coming up. You can sponsor them. Contact us for more information. Dax won men's in-ring performer of the year 2 years ago in the fight, or 2 or 3 years ago in the Fightful Awards. If you guys like, it's easy to forget that. Remember when Dax was just having that insane run in the ring? People forget way too easy. The memories are way too short these days. And love for Bruce, this isn't a shot at you. It's just that dude goes in the ring. That dude absolutely goes in the ring. Another slapper of a match. I'm trying to look back and see how many times they're world champions now. 2 times NXT, 2 times Raw, 1 time SmackDown, that's 5. 1 time ROH, IWGP, AAA, and now AEW 3 times. They're 11-time World Tag Team Champions if you include NXT. Wow. That is impressive. My God, man. This act of FTR and Stokely on fire in the ring and from a performance standpoint. And Bandido and Brody King, hats off to them. Bandido doing this while ROH champion, too many damn titles. I'll say that again. But they brought something to those tag team titles. Brian more or less says nights like this are why I love wrestling. Well, I get a way you can make your night better. I'm trying to look out for you. I'm trying to make sure that you satisfy. I'm trying to make sure that you do the right thing. And Blue Chew is as well. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Get your first shipment of Blue Chew free. Just pay $5 shipping. Got to pay the mailman. We'll talk about that later. But if you want that main event performance in the bedroom, Blue Chew is what you need. It's all done online, so no awkward in-person doctor's visits or visits to the pharmacy. Once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Arrive safely, discreetly. The mailman's not going to know what's going on. Well, listen. The mailman's not going to initially know what's going on, but he's going to hear all these sounds coming from your bedroom as he's dropping off the mail, and your mailman's going to be like, "What'd you order?" And you're going to be like, I don't know. He's like, "I know what it is. I know it's Blue Chew." And you'll be like, "What? Was it on the package?" And he'll be like, "No, but your package told the story, and the whole town's hearing about it." Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. Use that promo code FIGHTFUL. Get your first shipment free. Just pay $5 shipping. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the show. Blue Chew. Man, we love them. We love them. We got scrum notes, by the way. Mark Briscoe is there with a new title. It's all gold. Looks great. Looks great, by the way. AEW National Championship. So let me pull up what the National Championship looks like. Because I saw some people, and I don't know, TBD here, right? Let's go TBD. Because here's what the AEW National Championship looks like. And I love this. It is a complete throwback. And yeah, boys at Fightful Select reported it was going to be a throwback quite a while ago. And it is quite literally a throwback because it is what the NWA national title used to look like. And I mean exactly like this. I would pull up another picture of the NWA national title, but there's really no reason to because it looked exactly like this with the exception of some coloring and the AEW plates. But I love this. I'm a big fan of the NWA United States title. Now, NWA does actively have a national title. However, the national title that this is based off of, this one specifically, was unified with the NWA United States title and exists as the WWE United States Championship, right? The NWA brought back their national title in the 90s, and it currently looks like this. Look at that. Wow, a transparent file. But that's what theirs looks like, of which not a big fan of at all. But I do love this. If I were them, I would have probably rocked with that as well. Tony Khan spoke with Billy Corgan ahead of this, and I think they had to clear some air up, and they needed to. Because NWA had taken some legal action against AEW for trying to trademark Shockwave, and NWA should have. NWA used Shockwave years ago and still had the idea of possibly using it. And Tony Khan did say, well, that Shockwave's not going to happen for AEW. It was a theory. It was something I wanted to get off the ground, but NWA had it, and I didn't realize they had it. That's what he should have said. He should have said, my bad. As far as a national title goes, NWA does not own the phrase national title. And if we're talking about every title that NWA has ever had, well, my God, there would hardly be, you would have to name them TNT, TBS championships. New Japan did an Intercontinental Championship however long ago. Every company in the world did a United States title, you know. I got no problem with the national title existing in AEW. I just think there are too many damn championships in general. That's how I feel. And Tony Khan kind of stumbled through his answer. And I say stumbled through his answer because he didn't really provide clarity, but he's pretty much just like, we got more TV than ever, more pay-per-views than ever, and we need more important stuff together than ever. I think there are too many championships in pro wrestling in general. That's it. I don't want people to lose their way up to a championship, and I don't want everybody to have a championship. What I want is more creative stories told without the championships, and then the people that win those creative stories to then get championships. Now, you boys at FightfulSelect.com reported that most people in the company believed it would be Lashley or Ricochet winning this, and it was Ricochet. So let's talk about how this match started. Bobby and Shelton coming out together as they were 1 and 2, and I like that. They were a unit. And while those two were in the ring, you got MVP chants going on. MVP is as over now as he has ever been in his career. MVP is getting to go out there and talk. He is getting to go out there and manage Lashley and Shelton. Like, MVP is out there. I mean, he's a great character. He's a great manager. He's convincing from a physical standpoint as well. Like, he's never out there saying corny things. You know what I mean? Like, you believe everything that he says. And you can tell how much he is enjoying working with Ricochet and company as well. So there actually wasn't much interaction between Lashley and Shelton. And I'm like 50-50 on this because I wanted to see that. I wanted to see the physicality, but also say you are a promoter and this is the type of match that you do. Well, the reason that you bring out somebody like Ricochet almost immediately is to avoid a Shawn Michaels Triple H 1997 situation where one of those two guys says, I'm your buddy. I'll just lay down for you. And then we can have a legit match for the title down the line. Ricochet hitting, like having them attacked by GOA and then using the mic and just another one. He's so good. He is so good at getting heat. I cannot believe there were people a month ago saying, well, what's the difference between his AEW booking and his WWE booking? Oh, what? I don't know. Do you have eyes, ears, any general senses whatsoever? He gave the 5 big booms. It was lovely. Lovely. Then you got the Death Riders coming out, and they, they sort of led the charge against everybody. Orange Cassidy got a huge hometown pop. That's in our short section, by the way. Kevin Knight, Mike Bailey end up going at each other a little bit. There was specifically a European uppercut from Claudio onto a diving Ricochet that was fantastic. And Ricochet acts like I've always wanted him to act, because I have long said that if I could do 10% of what that guy could do, you would never get me to shut up, man. Instead of WWE having him be like, oh, man, people say that superheroes are just your imagination, but I believe that superheroes can be real. He should be out there talking like a guy who knows exactly how good he is. And that's what he's been doing. And it's been fantastic. It's been so good. I believe every single thing he says too, because I've seen him pull it off in the ring. And So I remember when Denise and I were reviewing, it was Raw or or AEW or something, and somebody said, just to play devil's advocate, like, say some of your maybe criticisms or hesitations about Ricochet in AEW. And I said, well, physically and athletically, I feel like there are other people in AEW who can do what he does. And I don't think so. I just don't think so. Matched with his level of heat that he gets, I don't think there are. I think Bandido can do a lot of the things physically that he does. And there are some people, like Dante Martin and all that. But a lot of people that haven't put it all together like he has. And I think, is the right call to win this. I thought he was the right decision. GOA put him up on their shoulders. He's going to be defending this title at ROH Final Battle. I just think this was the good call. Fitzgerald says, I really hate that I like the look of the belt because I don't want any more belts. And my God, Ricochet was great. The 5 big booms hitting MVP with the mic. Well, see, I like that too, that MVP's bravado is not so much that he won't allow himself to participate in something like that as well. And I mean, you can tell how motivated he is working with these guys. This is very important. And I know he's not keen on the dirt sheets. I think that he probably thinks that the dirt sheets as a whole don't like the booking of Hurt Syndicate. Meanwhile, I love the booking of the Hurt Syndicate. Shelton's my favorite wrestler of all time. Hard for me to not like it, right? But that's where I'm weighing it. Love how the title looks. Love the throwback. Hate that there's some more titles. Ian Simmons is insanely happy for Ricochet, man. He busted his ass, bumped his ass off in this match, and was the star of this. Something clicked tonight with him. The presentation was fantastic for him. I think something clicked with him in the Swerve feud. That's what I think happened. I think he had a real opportunity to have the catalyst for what we see now. Because he was treated like the movie Carrie, right? It's like the PG version of it, where instead of blood, it's a bunch of toilet paper, and you got Swerve and Nana making fun of this guy who didn't do anything wrong for nothing, and it led to where he is now. Irene says, very fun show tonight, especially the unpredictability. Wouldn't have been surprises if all the title match winners were reversed. That's impressive. So we had Hangman as like favored, but I couldn't lock bet that, man. I couldn't lock bet it because what we did say on FightfulSelect.com was that this feud was going to continue, and as you can see, it will. As we'll get to that, but FTR, I could have seen them losing that match as well, but again, I like this unpredictability. If they switch the tag titles in 3 weeks on Dynamite, I'm not going to be mad about it unless it's just sucky. I want some excitement. If you're going to have this many titles, shit, have them change hands sometimes on TV. By all means. No holds barred. Kyle O'Reilly taps out Jon Moxley again. I have always been a big fan of this kind of story. Jerry Lynn can't beat Rob Van Dam. Or you know what? They've got each other's number. Almost, but not quite. Eddie Guerrero can't beat Rey Mysterio. And Jon Moxley can't beat Kyle O'Reilly. He punched a referee to avoid it the first time. Caused it was a double count out or something the second time. Then he tapped out in blood and guts. And he taps out tonight. Whew. Let me tell you who did a great job during this match. Marina Shafir did a fantastic job in this match. You want to talk about somebody who has become invaluable, who has taken an opportunity and just turned it into the most, is Marina Shafir. While she has been this silent force in the Death Riders, she has went out and got reps and worked the indies and worked some of the more respected indies at that. and just gotten better and served as a character very, very well. But again, she went on that she's been on that run in Defy this year. She's wrestling. She's doing that. Now, not going to be as many matches as she had in like 22, 23 or anything like that, but she's been out there and doing stuff. But from a character standpoint, I loved a thing that Bryan Danielson said during this match. He was like, Marina Shafir is really, really good and like a great judoka, great submission wrestler. And you can tell that she did not have the confidence in Jon Moxley and handed him that fork. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Dave Koss says, I've been hard on AEW of late, but tonight was pretty excellent. My only issue was going back to back with O'Reilly, Mox, and the TNT as they were identical. The title matches delivered. Kyle O'Reilly was made. Stat belonged. Swerve is back. LFG. I wouldn't call them identical, but I would have put separation in them for sure. Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly used a chain and used a fork, and then Fletcher and Briscoe used ladders and tables, barbed wire and tacks. You could tell that the weapons were different there, and a chair in Moxley O'Reilly. But I would have separated them. I would have put one towards the start of the show and one towards the end of the show, for sure. But yeah. There was a guy in the crowd that kept singing the O'Reilly Auto Parts theme song. Did you all hear that? Was I the only one that heard that? And a couple people were like, Auto Parts. Need to run that sponsor. Need to get that one. Wait, I don't know. eBay Motors sponsored us for a while. I do like them. Shout out eBay Motors. If you guys have watched my reviews long enough, you know I'm a big fan of the double wrist lock. Is the catch wrestling phrase or term, the original term for the Kimura lock, right? In catch wrestling, we were taught so many ways to get in and out, out of it, transition with it, take people down with it, use it to work to high single, low single, take somebody's back, to sit out with all that stuff. And I love that they integrated that in with the chain as well. Big fan of that. Big geek for a double wrist lock. And, yeah, I mean, the history that Kyle O'Reilly has with Kushida working in and out of that move is Kushida is a big specialist of it. They started to sing Seth Rollins' theme during this match. I was like, all right, this is harmless, but okay. Nice tribute. And then, and Moxley had done the curb stomp as a result. So I got or as a result of the curb stomp, I believe they sang. I got no problem with that. It felt like an homage, not like a disrespect, like, these guys are boring type of thing. But Kyle ends up getting the win, and Moxley taps out. I have just adored Jon Moxley's run since losing the AEW Championship and losing with a triangle choke counter into that heel hook, or not. Filth. I've loved Jon Moxley. He's getting sicker and sicker. He's getting more desperate and more desperate. Love for Bruce mentions he stabbed him in the nipple. He's the titty master, Dean Ambrose. He's forever the titty master, for the love of God. But Jon Moxley had a very criticized world title reign. And it was a chore to get through at times. And is now paying dividends. It's like, all right, AEW invested an amount of money into Jon Moxley, and it didn't gain, didn't decrease. Then when Hangman won, bam, it shot up. And now you're getting the dividends from where it shot up, and it's working really well. He lost to Hangman. He has reinvigorated the Death Riders. And now he's losing to Kyle O'Reilly. And you got to wonder, does this mean he's going to end up out of the Death Riders? Is that going to happen? That's what everybody speculates, right? That eventually that's what goes down. Whew. Like, I think it should be his redemption run after this. Again, apologies for the dead air. Where John Moxley says, yeah, I did think there was something wrong with AEW, but honestly, the way that people stepped up against me, I realized pretty quickly that there wasn't anything wrong with AEW. It's just I wanted desperately to get back to the top of AEW because I need it and I love it so much, and it's important to me to be at the top of AEW. And now I regret how I went about that. And I'm glad that AEW and their wrestlers showed me that there wasn't anything wrong with AEW as is. That redemption run. But I think it's got to be John showing a little bit of a conscience, which we did see tonight. We saw him show a little bit of respect to Kyle O'Reilly and then attacked. And then baby faces came out and helped, which I really loved. Really loved that. Zach Schimmel says, AEW were the best wrestle for sickos. Tonight ruled maybe the bloodiest wrestling show I've ever seen. Love to Fightful. I feel like, well, yeah, they had 3 pretty bloody matches. Zach, we always appreciate seeing you here, buddy. We always appreciate it. Kyle Fletcher, Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe becomes the TNT champion. He went from not being allowed on TNT to being their champion. Now, for those that don't know, years ago, Jay Briscoe said some, quite frankly, really horrible things, really homophobic things. And from what I understood in the immediate follow-up and subsequently, he went out of his way to talk to people, to do everything it is that he could to rectify what it was that he said and to learn better. And it was claimed to me by people that worked with him for years that they heard nothing remotely similar from him ever again. I had people like Effie that vouched for him. And unfortunately, as a result, I have always been of the belief nobody is beyond growing. You can always grow. You can always learn. You can always get better. I think that we as a society don't embrace that enough. It is always, look what they did. Now forever, just forget them. And I'm like, what? There are some situations like Hogan where he goes to WWE and he's like, watch out for those cameras, brother. Okay, I got no love for that. Sorry, the man is gone. I got no love for that apology. I got a lot of respect for how Jay Briscoe handled that. But unfortunately, that was not enough for WBD to let them on the air. And there are a wealth of wrestling fans that don't truly know what the Briscoes were. Now, when I tell you guys that the Briscoes are probably the most convincing tag team I've ever seen in my life, I mean that for many reasons. When Mark Briscoe says something the way that he says it, I believe it. And when Jay Briscoe said anything, I believed it. And now it's unfortunate that it took Jay Briscoe passing away for Mark Briscoe to be on the WBD networks. But if there's a silver lining, it's that he is, and now he is the representative of those networks. There were some great table spots here. Just like, I think it was like the Alabama slam through the table, and then the rolling flip through the table. That elbow drop. Woo! With Kyle like standing and leaping himself. Gross. Jesus Christ, what a great elbow drop. You got big "you sick F-word" chants at Kyle Fletcher for stabbing Mark Briscoe with a screwdriver and then licking it. There was a specific sell that I loved of Mark Briscoe's where Kyle Fletcher ran at him with the screwdriver and Mark Briscoe bumped off of it. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. The brainbuster kick out. That's when I was like, all right, Mark Briscoe's winning this. And he was a betting favorite. Shout out my bookie AG. But still, I was like, really? Okay. Because I was critical of them doing this match again. But I thought that they added enough stakes to it to where he would have to join the Don Callis family, he being Mark Briscoe, if he lost. I go, okay, that makes sense. Okay, you got to put something up to get something like that. Then he does the Super Razor's Edge and the J Driller to win the title. Whew. Dave Koss says, did you also get the vibe when Briscoe won? It was like Mankind winning the title for the first time with the way they planned it out and fans jumping after the insanely loud 3 count. That ruled. A tier moment. Like, everybody loves Mark Briscoe. I hardly see anybody that's like, man, I hate Mark Briscoe. He's just not a good character, not a good wrestler. No, he's a good wrestler. He's an entertaining character. He would have worked in any era. Mark Briscoe is truly a performer that could work in any era. And Mark Briscoe can do anything. If you wanted to make him the third bushwhacker, you could make him the third bushwhacker. If you wanted to be the third sheep herder, he could be the third sheep herder. Or if he wants to be Mark Briscoe, he can be Mark Briscoe. Very happy for him. He is a lovely gentleman. Let me just tell you guys. I didn't talk to Mark Briscoe, I don't think ever before his brother passed. And I just got so much love for that guy for so many reasons. Every time I do an interview with him, he is one of the most warming, most welcoming people. I cannot tell you how comfortable that guy will make you if you're there. A guy who is a hardened vet, who has had wrestling give him everything, and also he's had a lot taken away from him in his life. And the outlook that guy maintains while continually growing his family, got nothing but love for Mark Briscoe. Dave Koss says they're tied 3-3 now, so definitely running a Game 7. Well, I mean, they're doing Continental Classic now. So maybe not. Maybe that's how you get them away, and then eventually you can do it. Also, Dave Koss has found it strange to introduce the stip with Briscoe joining Callis and not following through, but Fletcher entering this Okada Takosphere is good stuff. I didn't find it strange to do that because they had to have a reason for him to have this match. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made sense. Like, why would Fletcher just give him that title match? Also, Alex Queen of the Ring just sent me, let me show you guys this, that AEW did. It was very classy. They reserved a seat and put his photo on it for George. I was never good at pronouncing his last name. Tahinos, who left us way too soon. But they reserved a seat for him in the media section, and they reserved a seat for him at the Scrum as well. And he was a fantastic photographer that worked for a variety of publications, including our own Fightful magazine. He was a lovely gentleman, a very talented gentleman. And gosh, man, we've been around for 10 years. And unfortunately, we lost Elias Theodorou. We have lost George. And my heart really breaks for him, because the rare instance I did get to talk to George, he was, oh, what a wonderful guy. What a great guy. And again, just he wasn't a name that everybody has heard about, like Bill Apter and a lot of names like that, but all the wrestlers knew him, because all the wrestlers wanted their pictures taken by George. I want to send my love to his friends, his family, his hundreds of coworkers, because he worked for every publication. But he was just a wonderful guy, and I thought that was a very classy move from AEW to do that. Not something that was expected, not something that was asked. Like, don't think anybody said, "Oh, well, you need to do this." It's just something that they did, and I thought that was really cool of them, and it was very nice. Oh, man, while I collect myself, I'm going to let you all hear from our wonderful sponsor at Nord. NordVPN.com is truly a catch-all for wrestling fans. Listen, we got this great deal going, 2 years plus 4 months free. You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Before I even tell you that it works on all your operating systems, Windows, Mac, whatever you got. Android, your phone, your desktop, your laptop, your PC, all those devices work as well. You can put it on your router, your smart TV, but you get wrestling at a much more affordable price on those pay-per-views. You can watch all that WWE content with one Netflix account, but that's not it. You're also protecting yourself. They got great secure cloud storage. You can create your own private network. They've got a data breach scanner. They got the Threat Protection Pro that blocks that malware, blocks the trackers, blocks the ad, even when you're not connected to the VPN. Head over to nordvpn.com/Fightful. See all the great things that they have to offer you. nordvpn.com/Fightful. Happy to announce, we have just renewed with nordvpn.com/Fightful for 2026. Just what a great partnership for wrestling fans. Love it. Oh, man. Kenny Omega, Jurassic Express against Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks. The Bucks and Josh Alexander win. Again, good match. The Young Bucks are in incredible shape. Like, I don't remember the last time I've seen them in shape like that. I've never seen them like out of shape or anything, contrary to what weirdo fans will claim. But like, they are in really, really great shape. They have been hesitant on like nailing down, oh, okay, we're definitely gonna join the Don Callis family and all that stuff. But this was, again, really good match. We saw, I love that slingshot powerbomb they do, where they hang somebody over the top rope, and then one of the Young Bucks will do the top rope stomp onto their back, and it slings that person into the powerbomb. So Jack Perry was getting put in that, and then he did a Hurricane Rana out of it. Great stuff. The flip out of the Doomsday. I'm like, man, aren't the Bucks like 40? Aren't they like 40? How are they still doing that? Yeah. One of them's 40. Okay, and Nick's 36. More age difference between them than I thought. And they're still out there doing that. It's impressive, man. They end the one-winged angel on the floor too. Buddy, I wouldn't ever take that. I would hit him with the. Nah, I think I'm all right. I think I'm all right on that one. I don't want like 7 bulging discs in my back. I don't want to like shit out shards of my pelvis. I'm set. Give that one to somebody else. BTE Trigger gets the win. And the Bucks get $1 million. And somebody said, just do it in the ring, Kenny. I'll roll out. Exactly. I don't even know if I'd take it in general, man. But Don Callis is pulling the Bucks away. They want to help out their buddy who's getting jumped by the Don Callis family. And they really milk it, man. They really milk it. They laid it out. This is a fantastic match. But they really stretched it out. And then finally the Bucks make the save. And it's like the Elite Express here. It's like a big reunion of the Elite plus Luchasaurus, right? So Luchasaurus and Jack Perry, they shake hands and they're like, all right, we're good now. We're good. And Kenny slaps their hands away and hugs them. But Dave Koss says the reunion felt flat. Not sure if it's because it was so obvious or we've seen so many Elite reunions by now, but I'm glad it happened. Bucks sneaky, one of their best years ever with AEW in the ring. It is sneaky like that. But at this point, like, the Elite are not the top act in AEW anymore. So I kind of get it, but they're not. They're like 4th or 5th on the totem pole right now, right? Like, Mercedes is above what they're doing, and Hangman and Swerve are above what they're doing. Right now, the Ops are above what they're doing. You got Okada and Takeshita. They're above what they're doing right now. And Toni Storm kind of takes center stage whenever she does anything, right? Like, that reunion was behind a return and 3 title matches and all that as well. So I've got no problem with the guys who helped, spearhead this group having, not the crazy reunion, but I'm glad they reunited. And I'm ready to see that. And now I want to see a trios title run out of them. I want to see stuff like that. And yes, AEW is heel heavy right now. Very heel heavy. Kris Statlander defeated a Mercedes Moné. Mercedes could not become 14 belts Mercedes, but she did hit 13 suplexes in a row, one for every championship. I'll save my Three Amigos criticism for another day, because listen, this was Mercedes putting her own spin on it. It was funny to hear Tony Schiavone being like, oh my God, these crowds are insane. It was 14 suplexes. My bad, guys. Sue me. Tony Schiavone's like, oh my God, this crowd is going crazy. Everybody's like this. They're like, wrap it up. They're pulling out the box and everything. Wrap it up, B. Crowd was tired. They're 5 hours in, watching 13 suplexes in a row. This was a match that I think, again, if it was put on second or third, would have been hot all throughout. But instead, it was hot as big moves happened, as big moments happened. But also that flying knee from Mercedes. I think it was meant to be a Meteora, but instead it was just a knee to the skull off the middle or off the apron. Looked nasty. Statlander did a Blue Thunder Bomb on the floor. That was really good. There was this insane rib breaker as well. I'll tell you a thing that I love. They went back to the seatbelt, of which got Kris Statlander the win. And after Mercedes paid homage to Eddie Guerrero, you had Kris Statlander paying homage to Dean Malenko, who has long been a coach in AEW and was one of Eddie Guerrero's greatest rivals. And yes, Kris Statlander's spaceship entrance was very cool. I think my favorite, there were two spots that I really liked the most of this match. There was Kris Statlander very clearly going Bailey to belly into the bank statement, or the what's it called now? The statement maker. Loved that. Then I loved all the counters from powerbomb, electric chair into a poison rana. Very good. Dave Koss loved the tombstone counters in this. It wasn't goofy. It was earned. Love when unpenetrable heels make a genuine mistake and lose because of it. And we've got more of a story about Mercedes and what's going on. I saw a writer, I want to say it was an excerpt from Wrestle Purist that I thought made a lot of sense. And I don't want to misquote them, but it certainly rang pretty heavy to me about, okay, it seems like Mercedes' character is overcompensating for the fact that she cannot win the world championship. Right? Like, she keeps winning title after title after title, but she's just been unable to win the AEW World Championship. Drives her nuts. But the seatbelt spot was great. The tombstone spots were great. They had a phenomenal match that I think would have just played better earlier in the show, or with an hour and a half off the runtime of this evening's card per usual. But that's a criticism I'm going to have for every AEW show that goes 5.5 hours. And you had just a stupid amount of really good matches on this show. Oh, man. Let's talk about it. It's the main event, guys. This match was not like insanely good. It's all right. It was good. But like, this might have been, to me, anywhere between the 8th to 10th best match on this show. I could go as far as to say every match on the pay-per-view was better. The 4-way tag team match, maybe not. And I'm not saying that it wasn't good, because I didn't see a bad match on the show. This one just, it was there. And I think it's okay to have your 16-minute pay-per-view main events. But like, listen, man, if it's getting to 12:30 in the morning, 5.5 hours in, let's move some stuff off the show. I looked it up. Newark Public Transit stops running at 1 a.m. So thankfully they got people out earlier. I think that's something they really got to pay attention to not disenfranchise fans. But this was good for other reasons. By the way, I had no idea that Hangman's theme song tonight was from Red Dead Redemption. I'm not a Red Dead Redemption guy. I have owned 2 copies of the game and still own 1. But I've never played it for longer than like 10 minutes. I'll tell you why. I'm a GTA guy. I like cars. I gotta be able to do my stunts, man. Can I get a mod? Is there something I can do there? Not a Red Dead guy. The other Mikey V says the theme song was a big hint of what was going to happen. Please educate me, because I don't know shit about that. I don't know anything. I know none of the Red Dead lore or anything resembling that. So please, listen, you fire up Sunset Riders, I'm your man. Sunset Riders, let's do that. You can go to Fightful Scraps right now and see a live stream of me playing Sunset Riders. There you go. Match was okay. Hangman got bloodied. Eddie Kingston and Shibata interfere. There's a great dead eye. Like seeing dead eye to a guy Samoa Joe's size. Whew. Hobbs looked great here because he ripped the chain off Mark Henry style. But then we get a big turn in Hook, who comes in. He's got his jacket on. When I saw Hook in there, I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And he cracks Hangman with the title, and he's got an Ops shirt, and it's like, did he ever actually leave the Ops? A reasonable question. And where does this leave Eddie Kingston? Eddie Kingston's going to take this very personally. Eddie Kingston is not going to stand for this. And you know what? Hook and Eddie Kingston are the two people I think should be working together. You want Eddie Kingston working with Hook. Taz is very clearly happy about it on Twitter. But this is a real opportunity to see some personality out of Hook. Hook being the catalyst, I see this person like with the blank face, but we were asking for some finality to this Ops situation quite a while ago. And my hope is that Samoa Joe talked to Hook along the way, and he's like, I got bigger plans. We'll have you back by the end of the year. Let's just ride this out. Can you tell it's the first time I've ever yawned on a show. 2 a.m., brother. You got the Ops Dojo out there too? All right. Oh, by the way, they had some big roided out dude as one of Mercedes' belt guys, and Tommy Invincible as well. So, Hook is heel with the Ops. Probably never left the Ops. TBD. Interested to where that goes, but it's a cliffhanger, and it says tune in this week. But then, what a goddamn return. Let me just read this. Fitzgerald says, what an ending. Actually, yeah. We can read all those together. Here we go. What a goddamn return. Swerve has this unbelievable new Tron with the house burning, which is foreshadowing like maybe he wants in on this beatdown on Hangman. Maybe he's had some time to think on this. You got Nana out there dancing, and you got a new theme song with Raekwon the Chef, buddy. Raekwon. That's cool as hell. I love it. It is very, very hard to compete with the Swerve theme that he's had for years. And I was tipped off a while back that the theme song would be changing. And I'll have more on that in the coming days, weeks, all that. But I loved this theme song. And you got to have stuff that is chantable for Swerve, right? Because he's got the Who's House at the beginning of that, which from what I understand was Will Washington's idea to add that at the beginning. But then the dance is always something like you got to have that. But now you've got it to where it prompts you to go, Whose House? Swerve's House. Love that. And it's an incredible song. If you are going to get rid of one of the most iconic themes in wrestling, you better bring something good. And they brought something really, really good. Swerve is enormous now. He has been in the gym nonstop. And now you're talking about a Swerve who is working on a good knee for the first time in like 5 years. Because when I broke that story on FightfulSelect.com, please subscribe, I found out that when he was getting his meniscus taken care of, first off, they had planned for him to have time off after All In, and he delayed it a little bit from what I understood. And then I find out, oh no, he's actually been hurt since like NXT days. He tore his meniscus there and has been working on an injured meniscus ever since. Oh, okay. Well, he's actually going to be able to get it fixed now. Man. The other Mikey V says that ending showed me how much I miss Swerve. He is a franchise guy. And he gets in there and he beats up all of the dojo guys, including one that looks like Shane Gillis, but is actually Leon St. Giovanni's, LSG's, I think, brother, Max St. Giovanni, I think it is. What a fantastic return. Hit some big powerhouse offense in there as well. So glad to see him back. And then our thumbnail right now is Hangman and Swerve side by side. Dave Koss says, last super chat, Swerve is huge. Shoulders are enormous. Wu-Tang on this track is so incredibly cool later, buddy. Dave Koss, thank you, as always, for supporting what we do here and always donating super chats. Thank you. Moo says, A+ ending to that show. The entrance made Swerve feel like the single biggest star in the company. He and Hanger versus the Ops is going to feed families. So I'm like, okay. Hangman has to get... Does he have to get a rematch? And Swerve, would he be factored into that? I'm unsure of the immediate direction of the world title. And here we are. It's almost like an afterthought because Swerve came back. But Samoa Joe is your world champion in AEW for the second time. And I saw some people being like, oh, what was the point of that reign? I don't know. To take it off of John Moxley and then eventually lose it to somebody? I like this title change. I'm good with it. Because I think that within a few months, it goes on to Hangman or Swerve or MJF or Takeshita Okada, Kyle Fletcher. I think it moves on to somebody else anyway. Any number of people. And I'm glad to see Samoa Joe getting another world title run. Fitzgerald says, what an ending. Joe wins the belt with the help of Hook. Swerve returns and gets his biggest rival and helps his biggest rival in AEW. Hangman, more unpredictable finishes like that. I'm about cooked, chat. I agree. That was a good unpredictable finish. I didn't know that Swerve was coming out. It was a very fortunate report today. I thought it was more likely that MJF comes back. Shadow says, pay-per-view was a banger as usual. I like how AEW is handling the championship, defending it on shows, pay-per-views, sets it up for surprise changes, or holding it. And Hangman's defense was a solid run. We're cooking. I love this outlook, Shadow, and I know you were here wanting your super chat read earlier. I agree. Hangman had a great ascent to the title. He had a good second crowning moment. Very rarely in wrestling these days can you get like a second really cool crowning moment, right? And he won it in July. He beat John Moxley to defend the world title. He beat MJF to defend the world title. Kyle Fletcher to defend the world title. Lee Moriarty. Samoa Joe at Wrestle Dream. He had 5 defenses in the, 4.5 months? That's a hell of a run for me. I like that. And I agree with this. Lost Symphony says, convinced everyone living and dying by each decision for 5 years straight has ruined everyone's perception. Let stuff happen. World's cooked. Let's see what happens. Yes. Just because you can't predict it 6 months out doesn't mean it shouldn't be good. And much like Shadow's comment, like he defended it often. He was he wasn't like just a paper champion. He got out there and did it. The end had me proper mad like an Attitude Era Mark. That's the thing. I was like, what's going to happen and how are they answering this and what is to become of the title after that? Ian Simmons says this is the right call because there was an actual story behind this and furthers Hangman's story with Swerve. MJF still lurking with a contract, mind you. Eddie is now in a big story, possibly with Mox, Eddie all around the AEW title. So that's the thing. I was like, okay, cool. Eddie and Hook are going to do this tag team thing. And it was a nice swerve earlier in the night to be like, oh, well, they crushed this team. So what will happen now? But Eddie has been as steadfast an AEW guy as possible. But what Eddie doesn't take is being treated like a fool or disrespected. And that is going to be the thing that I look for the fallout of. Leave a thumbs up on this video, guys. It would mean a lot because it helps us. It helps the world find us. Irene says, while there's some hand-wringing over Hangman's second reign not being super long and Hook being involved, can't wait to see how this may translate into someone like Takeshi's first world title reign. Wheeler Yuta ended up getting so much heat off of all of this stuff that one day Bryan Danielson will come back and fight him, and the audience will be very happy to see that. If Hook can generate that similar kind of heat, that's a win. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my God, this direction with Hook sucks, because I don't know what's going to happen yet. I'm keen on it. I'm interested in it. He has been very over in the past. He has shown some promise there as well. But if it ends up sucking in a few weeks, maybe I'll change my mind. Oh, man. It's late, guys. So I can tell you what I'll be doing in about 15, 20 minutes. I will be crawling into my Helix sleep bed on my Helix sleep mattress. And you can go to helixsleep.com/Fightful and get your Helix sleep mattress. I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, it can be quite expensive, right? You want to invest in your sleep. And I'll tell you how I learned that. 6 years ago, about 5.5 years ago now, I needed a new mattress. My back, I've had chronic back pain for 15 years. Had some pretty bad spinal injuries. And I wanted something besides the slab of memory foam I was sleeping on because it was really bad on my lower back. I looked up, I typed in like best reviewed mattresses and Helix popped up. At the time, they had like 30,000 plus 5-star reviews. It was also during the pandemic, so I couldn't like go to a mattress store, didn't feel comfortable doing it. So I took their test online and it got matched up to the Dusk Lux model. They sent it straight to my door. They had flexible financing options because, listen, I needed it. And I got the best sleep I had in years on that mattress. Then I hit up Helix and I was like, hey, this is my story. This is where I work. I would love to do business with you guys. And they said, let's heckin' go. And now you get that 120-night sleep trial. If for some reason you don't like it, they will come get the mattress, but you will. And again, free shipping on all orders, and they have flexible financing plans. Invest in your sleep. And now, instead of 30,000 plus 5-star reviews, there's over 50,000 plus 5-star reviews. They got a great deal right now. Get 27% off any mattress for a limited time using our code FIGHTFUL, or just go to helixsleep.com/Fightful. It's not just me saying it. Wired Magazine says it. Good Housekeeping says it. That's Brendan and Dale's favorite, by the way. GQ says it. Forbes says it. New York Times says it. They got mattresses for kids. They got mattress toppers. They got ones that align your spine. They got ones that'll cool you down. They got you taken care of. Well, I appreciate you guys staying up with me. It is almost 2:15 a.m. in the morning. I want to thank our writing team. I want to thank Kate, who did coverage on site. SP3 was there. We had a lot of great coverage. Go check out our shorts from the event. And please leave a thumbs up on this video. If you're new to Fightful, well, guess what? We're here every night. We talk pro wrestling every freaking night. But if you want a little bit more, head over to FightfulSelect.com. And I know everybody's like, why would I pay for wrestling news? It's a lot more than that. And once you subscribe, you'll see that. $5.99 a month as of right now. You can also get annual plans. Every day, a Q&A article. Every day, a news article, an exclusive news article. Q&A show every week. Sour Graps reviews multiple times a week. Luis, find this chat. Luis, find it, please. And pretty soon we're adding Wrestle Votes to FightfulSelect.com. I am looking for it. Boop, 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 boop. Was it this one? We read that one. We read that one, Dave. I'm almost positive we did. Was that it? Says so many are missing. Oh, yes. Sorry. So many are missing the story with Mercedes. It shocks me. They're telling it right to our faces. Sadly, the hate runs so deep with her. It's a shame. So I still get notifications from a story that I dropped 2 years ago. And it was in December, like 2023. And I reported that WWE was no longer in negotiations with Mercedes. And it just wasn't happening. And then I reported she was expected to go to AEW. And I had, if you go back and look, people were like, oh, that's because she's already signed with WWE. And there are so many people from that were so excited. Oh, she's already signed with WWE. She's going to be back. That are now just total haters of hers, man. You hear the promoters talk about how much business she does for them. You see talent falling all over themselves to lose their championships to her. She's good in the ring. I've not heard any horror stories about how she is to deal with. I know for a while, a lot of people were like, oh my God, creative control. And when I reported, no, she doesn't have that. I talked to a bunch of promoters. I talked to a bunch of agents, talked to a bunch of wrestlers, talked to AEW, talked to people around creative. Wouldn't it be a more interesting story for me to publish if she did have creative control? I would kind of rather her do that. That way I could make more money off the story for my team. But it is Mercedes overcompensating because she can't win the one championship that eludes her. Some notes from the scrum. Toni says CMLL and New Japan are interested in national title defenses and smiles big when he says he's not worried at all about WBD suitors being tied to WWE. Kyle O'Reilly will probably not be cleared for the C2. Oh, man. Thank you all so much. It is never lost on me how fortunate I am to be able to do the job that I do. And I want to say thank you because like 7,000 of you were chilling, watching at 2:15 a.m. Till next time, my friends. Subscribe to us on all audio platforms. We're out.